All right, hello students. Let's go and finish up our notes by going over example 1, the opposite of a number. All right, so let's go ahead and kind of talk about what that means. Here you go. What is the opposite of a number? How can we illustrate that on a number line? So if we look at part A, it says, what number is 8 units to the right of 0? Well, of course, 8 units to the right means it's positive. And of course, 8 units simply means positive 8. So there you go. That's what it would be. If we look at the next part, or next one, it says, how can you illustrate the location of the opposite of 8 on a number line? Well, if we look at the illustration here, it says what number is 8 units to the right of 0? The opposite of that would be 8 units to the left of 0. So if we kind of think about how to present this, we want to make sure we present this in an appropriate manner. We would simply say that the opposite, get out of the way, of 8 is it 8 units to the left of 0 on a number line. So there you go. So if we're talking about 8 units to the right of 0, the opposite of 8 is 8 units to the left of 0 on a number line. All right, well, what is the opposite of 8? Well, hopefully we know by now that it is negative 8. But to kind of illustrate it in an equation form, let's go ahead and get our red out. It would be the opposite of parentheses 8 and the parentheses, which equals negative 8. Now you're going to see these parentheses used to separate kind of the double negatives. So when we get to the opposite of an opposite, we're going to go ahead and see why we need to use parentheses. I'll explain. I'm going to erase that, make that a little bit better because that parenthesis was not very good. So let's go ahead and make that a nice parenthesis right there. So the opposite of 8 is equal to negative 8. There you go. All right, so let's go ahead and kind of look at the next one, D, and kind of illustrate kind of what I mean a little bit more here. It says use the same process to locate the opposite of negative 8. What is the opposite of negative 8? Well, if we kind of first kind of look at this, I like to use the equation form first. If we look at it in this manner, we're talking about here the opposite of negative 8 means the opposite of parentheses negative 8, which would be equal to, well, negative, the opposite of a negative is a positive. So if we kind of illustrate that here on the number line, we would, of course, first start with 0 in the center. I believe there's 17 lines here. You can count them, but I'm going to go ahead and go 9 in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 into the center. And if we locate negative 8 on the number line, that means we go to the left 8 times. And of course, we're talking about negative direction. So let's go ahead and fill this in. Go negative 6. That's a bad 6. There you go. And then negative 8. So of course, there is our negative 8. Let's go ahead and fill that in with a dot. And of course, that is 8 units away from 0. Well, this is the opposite of 8. So the opposite of 8 would be positive 8. So that means that would take us 8 units to the right of 0. So let's go ahead and fill that in. 4, let's go 5, 6, 7, and then 8. And of course, that's where our opposite would be located. And of course, positive 8 and positive 8 match up. So there we go. All right, and the last part, so it says the opposite of an opposite of a number is, and of course, we think about it. We took 8, we took the opposite, and we took the opposite of the opposite, which of course took us back to the original number. So the opposite of the opposite is the original number. There you go. All right, so that's kind of our last example. You can go ahead and if you look down below, you guys are going to work on this in a group here. Once everybody in your group is completed the videos. But until that time, go ahead and move on to the problem set or your next assignment activity.